Hello, 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 and welcome back to the Practically Reality Podcast. My name is Garrett, also known as Garrett the Gamer, and I am here with my good buddy Declan. Today, we are going to be talking about some awesome gaming and tech news that happened this last week that I am so stoked to talk about. So, as always, I'm here with my buddy Declan. Say hi, Declan.
What's up? Hi.
Oh gosh, it looks so bad today.
Whoa, I'm so close. The fuss
Okay, wait, hang on.
is all readjusted.
I will fix it. What am I even? How did this happen? Hang on.
I'm like 5 billion times the size that I should be. I know I'm fat, but come on, man.
Sorry, it's my bad. We're adjusting
extra
in real
thick.
time. Adjust in real time. Guys, it wouldn't be a Garrett
Can
the
people
Gamer.
hear me okay?
That's the real question. Can anyone hear him? Whoop. There we go. There we go. That's what we like to see.
Okay, they can hear me. Hi, everybody.
Welcome back to Practically Reality. Oh, how's everybody doing? How we doing, chat? Yeah, we can hear you. That's good.
Good. We're all in there.
Declan does not have much time today. Is that still the case?
Yes.
So,
Yeah, I gotta leave in an hour, so we are going to make the best of the time that we have.
So, we gotta bust through this stuff because, alas, there's much to discuss.
Yeah, lots of good stuff this week.
So,
Well, okay, some good and some bad.
Where do we start with this? Like, where do we start?
Well, I would imagine they would like us if we started with a little bit of video game stuff.
Of course. So, what is the big things that have happened in video games this week?
Well, did you watch the State of Play?
I did not. I didn't even bother.
You didn't miss anything. The State of Reworks. Oh my gosh, dude.
We are in such a weird spot with games. I don't get it. Like, what's going on?
I don't understand why.
I have a couple of my own
Who thought
theories.
that we needed a remaster for freaking Horizon Zero Dawn that came out like 4 years ago? Like that. Why do we need a rework, a remaster for that?
They're remastering Horizon Zero Dawn. What?
Yeah.
What? But
Yeah.
Why?
Let's see. I have my notes here. We have free DLC for Astrobot. Cool.
Yay.
The Midnight Walk is a VR game that's coming out, PSVR exclusive.
Okay.
Looks pretty dope. So there's a game called Lost in Random. I don't know if you've ever played that. It's got a really cool art style. The Midnight Walk is made by that studio. I think the whole animation, it looks like it's all claymation, like the whole video game in VR,
sick.
which is dope.
That's
So
pretty sick.
that looks really cool. Yeah, that looks cool to me. I'm excited for that one.
Okay.
So do you know Metro, that game series?
Yes.
I think there's 3 games.
Like Metro
There's
Exodus,
Metro Awakening.
Yeah, I know
Yeah.
Metros.
So Metro Awakening VR, PlayStation 5,
Okay.
PSVR 2. That looks good.
That'll be a good one. Metros are always good.
Yeah.
I don't feel like there's any problems with Metros.
Let's see. Power World is going to PS5. Cool.
Ironic.
They gotta get money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They gotta fight the battle, the good battle.
Yes, Rocky Road. It looks like claymation is like the whole art style for that video game. It looks pretty dope.
I gotta see this for myself. What's it called again?
The Midnight Walk. Like, it looks fun. I like Lost in Random. I'm playing it right now. Actually, I was already playing it just for fun. It's a really cool art style. It's very stylized.
Oh,
Yeah. So imagine that in VR. That's gonna be crazy.
that'll be super interesting. Holy cow!
Yeah, it looks fun.
All right, I'm all about that. I wonder, man. For another
Let's
day.
see. Let me just count how many remasters I see here on my list. Let's see.
Oh, dear.
Remaster from a PlayStation 1 game, remaster from an Atari game, a remaster from a PlayStation 4 game, another remaster from a PlayStation 4 game. They're making Lego Horizon Zero Dawn. The heck? So I see at least 5 or 6 remasters from this announcement from all of the State of Play
But
of games that like Some of them are old. Oh no, there's more than that. I didn't even count. There's a couple of them that are like combination games getting remastered into one.
Oh
So there's at
man,
least like 8 games that were announced that were remasters at the State of Play. Pretty lame.
that's kind of sad. Nothing from like Helldivers or any of their other
Oh yeah,
exclusives.
there was an announcement about Helldivers. The free DLC in Astrobot has Helldivers in it.
Wow, what a legendary! My gosh, dude.
Yep, you can get you can get a Helldiver Astrobot in the new Astrobot DLC with their 10 speedrunning maps. That's what it was.
Okay, all
So,
right, cool beans, I guess. Wow.
yeah, none of the other games like really did a ton for me. Like the Sonic game, they're adding a Shadow the Hedgehog update with Shadow from the Sonic movie. So like they
Okay,
took his movie character and added it in there.
got some
There's
Keanu
a
Reeves
lot of
lines in there, maybe. Of
yeah, as Keanu Reeves is doing the video game.
course,
Um like some of the RPG stuff looked okay.
but just okay, right? Like nothing.
Yeah. There's a lot of like honestly what I feel like is PlayStation's State of Play is much more appealing to the East audience than it is to the Western audience.
That's true.
Um
That has to be considered with PlayStation because they are a
yeah,
Japanese-based company, right?
yeah,
So
for sure. And
interesting.
there's not a ton of stuff that looked super interesting. I was surprised. They're adding split screen to Lego Fortnite, which I've heard Lego Fortnite was kind of a flop. So it'll be
It's
interesting to have split screen on it at least.
That's interesting. I would be very curious how many people still play split screen since the stations have tried so hard to just take it out of existence.
Yeah.
So
I think
interesting choice.
yeah, the biggest things I picked up from State of Play, lots of RPGs, lots of remasters, and lots of Souls likes. It seems like I mean Monster Hunter got is gonna have a new one and it looks a lot more like a Souls like than Monster Hunter. There's the Ghost of Yotei, which is, I guess, the Ghost of Tsushima or whatever it was, the second one.
That's the one that
Um,
I've seen stuff about that I'm actually kind of stoked about because
yeah, for sure.
that like the first one. Did you ever play what was it, Ghost of Tsushima? Like that
Yeah,
looks that's amazing. That game was just beautiful. It was fun to play. Unique storyline. I feel like it hit all the places, and they're making a follow up
yeah.
where the protagonist is a female lead, and like
hmm
I think that's cool. Like they're doing it like the right way. I feel like so I don't know.
Um, bonus content here. With let's see, if you want a cool samurai female lead thing, um, there's an anime on YouTube or on Netflix. I think it's called The Blue Eye Samurai. If you haven't seen it,
Pretty
it
good.
is one of the best animes I have watched in the last year. It
Okay.
was amazing, very graphic, probably mature rated, but holy cow. Like
Okay.
10 out of 10 would recommend Blue Eye Samurai. It was
Blue Eye Samurai.
amazing.
Okay. All right. I just recently watched Attack on Titan, so I feel like I'm just barely getting into the this beginnings of anime
Attack on
stuff.
Titan's good. I do enjoy Attack on Titan. My first anime love was Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. It
Could
was
see that.
really good.
Could see that.
And then I watched um, Berserk next. The
Hmm.
original like 1990s Berserk.
Oh, so like
And that
classic,
was
classic anime. Wow.
oh, it's like so Berserk was the first manga that really took on the dark fantasy trope.
Right.
So like right now in a lot of anime there's the I'm the hero, I'm a loner with a big sword kind of identity.
Okay.
Like that's a huge trope in anime and manga and stuff.
Okay.
And from what I understand, Berserk was the first one to do it. So
Cool.
that's what everything is based off of. Guts. If you hear the Guts theme, you'll probably recognize it from memes. But Berserk is amazing. And then yeah, Blue Eye Samurai was really good too. If you haven't seen, Netflix has done some really good animes. So if you
I've been surprised
watch,
by that.
yeah, One of my other favorites is an or a Netflix exclusive, Cyberpunk Edge Runners.
Yes, I watched that one. Fantastic. Would
Oh
recommend.
man,
Excellently done.
so good.
So good.
I've probably watched it 3 or 4 times.
Did you see they're coming out with another one?
No, I didn't.
Yeah,
I'm excited for that.
They just released. I highly doubt it'll follow the same story, just because how that one ends. But it's in the same universe, and I believe it's the same studio doing it. So
cool.
Like, it looks cool. They just released a teaser, basically saying like Cyberpunk is back. I saw that a couple days ago.
I love Cyberpunk World is so cool.
That.
Do you know it was a tabletop role playing game?
That doesn't surprise me. That doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah.
But we got someone in the chat asking us about Marvel Rivals. Is that out?
Marvel Rivals is the hero shooter, right?
It's the Overwatch rival.
Watch.
Did that come out?
I've watched some of it. I don't know if it's available to everybody. Last I watched, it was in like early testing. The official launch date was announced a month ago.
Gotcha. Marvel Rivals.
October 6th.
And so it's like in a couple days.
Yeah.
So hero shooters are kind of interesting to me because I love like the idea of it. We played Apex pretty hardcore for a little while, and is that considered a hero shooter? It's a hero battle royale.
It's a hero battle royale.
But like kind of same concept. Like you basically pick players based off of their class, right? And then
kind of, yeah.
Like based off of those stats and stuff you play. So I could see myself getting really into that. I love that kind of stuff. I loved Apex for a long time until it was just way too sweaty for anyone's good. So I could see this being really cool.
December 6th?
Is it December 6th?
It might be December 6th. I might have given the wrong date.
Wow, we'll have to double check that. Release date, I still have to be announced. But at least that's on Steam. On Steam it says TBD. So
yeah, this release date was for PS5 and Xbox. December 6th. Yeah.
Okay. That's not the worst thing in the world. But I don't know. I know a lot of people were very upset with Overwatch 2. It just didn't like scratch the itch like they were hoping. So
it didn't do anything.
Yeah, like
don't get me started on that one. That one pissed me off so much. It was the most ridiculous thing. I don't know what they spent their money on. What did they do? Like they were supposed to be building out this entire PvE thing that was going on, and they reworked a couple skins and changed the name of like 3 characters or 1 character even. Like it was the most stupid thing. But
well, right, we have struck a nerve with Declan today, guys.
Dude, it was dumb. Blizzard has made so many stupid choices. Ugh, just Blizzard.
Blizzard in general.
Yeah.
That is Activision Blizzard, correct? That is subset of Activision, which is now owned by Microsoft, correct?
I don't know. Is Blizzard owned by Microsoft? I know Activision Blizzard, yes. I wonder if did Blizzard sell Activision?
Blizzard owner. Let's see. This is saying Microsoft. Yeah. So they are now owners of Microsoft. And like I always have mixed feelings about that because like as soon as Halo was owned by Microsoft, I feel like that's when it started going downhill. And now Blizzard is owned, so we shall wait and see, I suppose.
Well, Blizzard's been... I mean, I'm a Riot fanboy.
Oh, so yeah, that makes sense.
I love Riot games. I feel like what they're doing is really cool. In, like, the same genres that Blizzard has been doing things, I feel like they've been better. Even though, like, Valorant wasn't quite Overwatch, I feel like Valorant has more legs than Overwatch does in the competitive scene. Or will. We'll see. Valorant could die, but...
They just pushed the consoles, so I feel like they just got some new life in them because of that.
Yeah, that's true. But I would be surprised. I still have friends that play WoW religiously. If Riot ever releases their MMORPG, I feel like it'll be better than WoW. But I don't know. I like Riot, so I think they do things good. I really enjoyed their card game. I thought it was better than Hearthstone, but not a lot of people played it, so they really focus on the PvE now more than the PvP on their card game.
That's interesting.
So, yeah.
We could do a whole episode. I feel like on Riot because I love the way they do. Have you ever heard of the Riot Forge?
Well, do you know it's shut down?
What?
Yep.
Since when? That was like one of the most
This year
genius things.
they
Oh,
announced. I think the last Riot Forge game was the Song of Nunu.
oh man, I just loved that whole concept of like a studio with a like world famous IP licensing
Yeah.
out to basically indies to try and create like the next generation of games. I just thought that was the most smart
Yeah.
and like give back thing.
They did too much at once. Like their anime was super successful, which if you haven't watched that one, you gotta watch that one.
Which one
New
is
season's
that?
coming out soon.
Arcane?
Arcane. Yeah.
Arcane is fantastic. Super excited about the new season. Looks great.
Yeah. So they did that. They did their card game. They did Valorant all at the same time. Um, Riot did League of Legends, and that's been successful forever. Yeah, they lost money with the card game. I think they invested more into different things that failed or that they lost team members of. When the whole like COVID thing hit, and I feel like they didn't really have a ton going for them, like their team, and they probably lost a ton of money. I don't know. I feel like there's been mismanagement of the IP, like in the lore and stuff. People were coming up with lore and posting it one place on League of Legends, and then there's like a different story and a different setting, and so there's just a lot of inconsistencies, and they kind of shut down a lot of the things that they were not making as much money off of, which makes sense.
I mean, I feel
So
like that was
with
what everyone had to do when we were
yeah,
in like that was just like COVID and like the economy taking it at the same time. I feel like so many studios like got cuts. I mean, that was right
yeah,
as like Halo Infinite got released, and Halo Infinite had
hmm
just the worst launch story because they cut half the team like a month after
yeah,
launch, redesigned the whole thing. It was bad. Halo Infinite is another tragic story we could talk about, but we got other things to get to today. That's the problem.
yeah. We do.
So, okay, we gotta cover. Man, I really want to talk about Project Orion from Meta. So
Okay.
let's
Do you
jump
want
into
to
that.
jump into that first?
Might as well, dude. We might as well cover that
Okay.
first because I feel like that's gonna bring up a bunch of stuff. Okay, as an AR guy yourself, what are
hmm
your initial thoughts on seeing that revealed? On seeing what it's capable of? Like, what do you think of it?
Well, I mean, it's hopeful for the future, right? I think it's impressive to see AR in that form factor. Obviously, it was in like a very controlled setting where we saw a lot of the demos for it,
For sure.
but it's solves a lot of problems. So there's no cords, but there's still a puck that you have to carry around, which does
Computer
all the
puck.
computation, but it's all wired or wireless, which is interesting. Um, it's super good to hear that Meta's been putting so much into it.
Oh, billions of dollars.
Especially with the news that like HoloLens is closing down. Like Microsoft is shutting down HoloLens. They officially announced they're not producing any more headsets, and they'll do long-term support for it, but nothing new will be coming out, and it's essentially shelved.
To which I say good
I
riddance
think,
personally.
yeah, it's kind of sad because I feel like a lot of what probably the Orion has been built off of is stuff from HoloLens and like Magic Leap,
For
which
sure.
Magic Leap still has a lot of stuff going for them. I think they might be purchased by somebody else. So I know there's at least another company, not just Meta. That's the biggest thing. I just don't want Meta to be the only person doing it.
Right.
But I guess, yes, let's just think about Orion. Orion was awesome what they were able to do. I watched a bunch of reaction videos of other people that have tested it out, and it sounds like it's groundbreaking. I thought it was interesting how much they focused on the Ray-Ban glasses as well. It kind of made me want to get a pair of them because that's like a not a real AR device with holograms, but it
No.
has like the computer in it with AI, and it seems like a lot of people are really enjoying it. I've seen a lot of people say they've used the AI Ray-Ban Meta glasses for a while, and they really like what they do, and it's kind of integrated into their daily lives. So to see just something like that at a lower level than what Orion actually is, and how much success they're seeing from those Ray-Bans, plus the functionality and features inside of Orion was really interesting. It was just way more AR and like AI wearable things than I expected in the whole Meta conference. It was really cool.
No, it really was, and I actually saw a video today of one of my buddies. His name is Oliver Ending. He's got a great TikTok channel. If anyone wants to go check him out, he is awesome. He's a VR creator. He captured this video today and he posted it on his channel where he was like, check out this video of me climbing in these glasses. Okay, so it's him rock climbing at a gym, and he recorded the entire session from the POV of his Ray-Ban glasses, and it was awesome. Like, super high quality video, extremely stable, like very cool looking perspective and everything like that. And I was gonna message him and ask him just kind of like what his general like feel is for those glasses, because they're, yeah, like you said, I feel like a lot of people are liking them way more than they were thinking, you know. And with Orion, the crazy thing about Orion, so for those of you guys who don't know what we're talking about, Orion was basically these AR glasses that they revealed at MetaConnect this last week, that are, if you guys know what those Edith glasses are from the Tony Stark movie, what's it called? The Spider-Man movie, where he like puts on the glasses and like puts holograms. They were literally that and functioned to a degree, right? And my good buddy Thrill Seeker over on his YouTube channel, he said that this was like the iPhone moment for Meta, where they released a product where it's like, this makes sense for the general population. And I have to agree with him, because my buddy, who has nothing to do with the VR space or AR space in any degree, he's a blue collar worker. He reached out to me and he said, hey, what's up with this Meta Orion thing? I was like, what do you know about it? And he like had a very, like, we had a very sensible conversation about Meta Orion. He said that was something that appealed to him. Like, I feel like we're finally getting to the point and the form factor where the general population would use effectively these types of devices. And that's what's like super exciting for me. Obviously, like they were saying, I was watching a podcast today about it that was saying, or a video on YouTube that was saying that right now those cost $10,000 to manufacture each pair. So they've made like 1,000 and they're testing them internally. And I'm sure they'll continue to they'll continue to like, you know, cut things down and whatnot. But for what it is right now and like seeing that future, like that's exciting to me. That's honestly, that's what I thought Apple would come out with first and foremost, is something in that form factor. So it's kind of funny to me that Meta was actually the first one to do it, but I wonder if it's because they've been taking this approach of working with others like Ray-Bans in order to get it right. I don't know. It's kind of interesting.
Well, I had an interesting like epiphany, I guess, watching the conference, because obviously we watched the Apple Connect or Apple whatever it was before, right? It was like the week before.
Right, the developer conference.
Yeah. Apple is so fake. Their developer conferences are so like pre-recorded, not real. There's just something weird about them. I don't know if you remember the good old days with Steve Jobs when he would jump on and like
get on the stage
4
and
devices.
Just like, yeah.
They had like things set up on standby because they would do live demos and stuff, and it was like not super scripted, and they were just kind of flying at the seat of their pants, and like it doesn't look as professional, I guess, but like that's what Meta Connect reminded me of.
No,
It
actually,
reminded me of a real old school Apple keynote, and it was cool, and I missed it. It was awesome.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, there's been tons of people I've seen on my feed talking about how Zuckerberg looked like a normal guy for the first time in forever. He had this like long shaggy hair and just like this kind of.
I want that Zuck shirt. Did
right?
you see his shirt? That thing was so dope.
It was, dude,
and it was like a custom shirt. It was like in Latin.
Bro, the dude looked like a homie, like up on that stage. Like I was like, bro, I want to dap up Zuckerberg. Like, man's looking sick. But you're totally right. You've got Apple over here, who's got this like very regimented, edited, perfect, you know, developer conference. And then you've got Zuckerberg up on stage, like, what's up, guys? Here we go. Like, this is Orion. Let me put him on for you right here and now. Like, I totally agree with you. As weird as it is, like. Apple has become more of this pristine, and Meta is now this like people. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah. I don't know what software they downloaded into Zuckerberg, but it's working.
The update worked.
Yeah. Did you see what his shirt said? Did you
not.
read what it said in English?
No, I haven't heard that one yet.
So it's all Latin.
Right.
And his shirt said, all Zuck or all nothing.
The dude has a humor about him. He just needed his hair's doing it for me right now. He just seems so much more normal with that just like shaggy hair going. Freaking love it.
Yeah, it was funny. I mean, you could still tell he was kind of a robot.
He's still Zuck.
But yeah, he's still Zuck. But yeah, the software update and all the coaching that he's getting, he's AI, there. So all the new models that he's been tacking to ChatGPT to figure out how to be more human.
No, but like in all honesty though, I was very excited by the stuff that they announced at Connect because like I said before, that form factor is truly what I think would replace phones at some point. Yeah. Or be the perfect companion to a phone, you know? I definitely like the idea of like a separate compute device. I've talked to some people about that, and it's like it's extremely finicky to get that to work, to have separated processors, but that's a technology I feel like they've been getting better and better at. But like I don't know, that it's been a while since I've seen a tech that made me super excited, and those Orion glasses was one where I was like, yes. And also, this is the other thing they announced, which is huge for VR, the Quest 3S, dude. That is huge. That is like absolutely, that's going to be great because everyone in the world who has a Quest 2 right now should 100% this Christmas get the upgrade. 100%.
For sure.
No questions asked. That is a 100% worthwhile upgrade. Because you will have the same resolution as the Quest 2, but with the power and processor that is behind the Quest 3, which is just like night and day difference. So
I was interested. Did you see the stuff about them opening up the store to like 2D developers?
Yes.
Like all your mobile games essentially are going to be on your Quest now.
So I can't remember if I'm under any legal jurisdiction to not say things. I'm pretty sure I'm okay to say it. Like, the idea that is happening right here is they are, with the rulings that recently happened in the Supreme Court, where they basically ruled that they can use third-party payment systems and you don't have to be charged through whoever the host is. It basically is opening up the window for multiple app stores to exist on phones, devices, whatever, because technically it is considered monopolistic to have the only app store available on a device. And so I believe that is what they are pushing for here, is that they're going to make this very, very, open-ended platform where, 2D developers, 3D developers, anyone who wants to could publish on there, and like Meta will reap the benefits because of their platform fees, right? So like I've seen a lot of things with it.
Like the concept of Meta's store has been so curated for so long, I feel like, right?
And that is no longer the case. Like they have gone away with App Lab. Like App Lab is no longer a thing. Like your game, once you publish it and you pass their QA, you're on the store. You're as visible as anyone else. The only difference is whether or not you elect to call yourself an early access title or not. Which
it's so weird to think that like the floodgates are now open and there's going to be a billion different. It's like Steam, like getting a game published on Steam means absolutely nothing.
Sure.
And it's impossible to be found, I feel like, for the majority of people unless you have crazy good marketing efforts.
Right. Or you just somehow get the right people to play it, right? Like take a game like Among Us, right? That got the right people to play it and it blew up. I feel like personally, being the developer that I am and also the marketing expert that I am, I would much rather compete on the development, like on the marketing side of things rather than development. Okay. Because like before with like Sail VR, for example, I spent literal years trying to woo Meta into letting us get onto their official platform, and nothing ever came of it. And then, now that they've switched over to this open platform, Sail had a ginormous following because of social media and whatnot. And now it's even bigger, like, reach because they just opened it up to more people, right? So, I don't know. I personally, I'm a big fan of the open, like, platform things just because I feel like it's better for competition. Because if you gatekeep, the people who are going to get past the gatekeeper are either going to be the people with money or who are really good salesmen, which most of the time, us developers are not that, So, that's my thoughts on that.
Yeah, it's just going to be interesting. There was such a winter where there was no VR content, and now there's just going to be so much stuff. I have tried very hard to keep up with everything that gets released on the Meta Store over the last couple years. Like, I don't own every title by any means, but I do follow every single release on the Meta Store. Like, I make sure I look at them all.
Yeah.
Because I have a vested interest in it. I want to see what people are making.
For sure.
But now it's just going to be impossible.
Well, yeah, no, but I think to that point as well, there was a problem with that because there were so many titles that were releasing on the official store that just flopped, like, right out of the gates. But because there was this prestige of being an official store title, no one wanted to first go on to App Lab, and it created this like, oh, I'm too good for App Lab. I'm not even going to try if you're not going to let us put our game straight onto the store. And some people got put straight onto the store, and then their game flopped, and they're like, why did it flop? And it's like, well, because you didn't actually do any market research, Whereas I would argue most of Meta's greatest titles started in App Lab, right? Blade and Sorcery, Ghosts of Tabor, My Game Sale, like, all of these games, we all started on App Lab, listened to the community, got feedback that way, and migrated to the store. And so I feel like this move is just kind of another way for Meta to be like, look, there's no curation anymore. Just pass the thing and do your marketing instead of, like, bugging us about it. So,
yeah, I guess that makes sense. I mean, I will always remember, like, Side Quest. One of the games that I really liked on Steam VR got put onto Side Quest because they tried to get it on the the Oculus Store back then, and they couldn't get it put on there, so they sold it on Side Quest, and you had to sideload it in, and it was like a perfectly fine game. It was something that a lot of people played in VR on Steam. It just was not possible to get onto the Oculus Store. So it was crazy that that's the route they had to go to monetize through App Lab or through Side Quest sales and stuff. Back when the Quest was first available.
Yeah. There's several. I feel like there's lots of games like that eventually Meta came around and, like, approached them and they got on there. The company that I love to talk about that, like, just does a fantastic job in VR is Triangle Factory. They're the ones that created Hyperdash and also Breachers. Breachers is essentially Rainbow Six Siege in VR. One of my favorite VR games. Would recommend it to absolutely anyone. And the way that they have always done their releases is they first and foremost release, like, an alpha on SideQuest. And
that makes sense.
Like, they very specifically make it so that only very tech-minded people can get the alpha first because those people give better feedback. And then they use that feedback to go to a little bit broader audience, making it easy to sideload the APK, on SideQuest. And then they go into a closed beta state where they take kind of some of their top players, and then they do a public release, usually through the official store. Like, instead of fighting the stream, like, they used it to the utmost, and I just absolutely love that.
Do people still play the Hyperdash? I remember you played that a lot when we were in college.
Yeah, I was actually on a pro team. It was a lot of fun for me.
I remember that.
that was actually why I started posting on YouTube, because I started live streaming the competitions. So that's another thing that they did really well is Hyperdash was a paid experience for a long time, and just in the last year they made it free to play. And, like, just totally turned it into an amazing free-to-play game. So it always has players. There's always lobbies you can jump into. And it's, like, free-to-play, so it's, like, it's a pretty good time. Lots of fun cosmetics and whatnot. It's just, like, this... Like, it's been, like 5 years since that game first came out, and it's still very much alive and active. Like that just speaks loads to what Triangle Factory is capable of. So love that, absolutely love that.
I did see something pretty interesting. I felt like a couple people were talking about that. So Meta is going to essentially control the App Store, and they're going to have a race to the bottom. If they own like the main marketplace, they're going to have a race to the bottom for developers. Like they're going to start charging more percentage on sales and stuff on their end. So developers will continue to be making less and less because Meta will be controlling all the software. Do you feel like that's kind of a risk that they're facing, that people are facing now?
I mean, so there's been several like Supreme Court cases about the platform fee, and basically the ruling has been like the platform fee is acceptable to a point, right?
Okay.
Like industry standard across the board right now is about 30%. So like if I sell a game for $10, Meta would get $3, I would get $7, right? That's how it works right now. And I feel like it's fair, but if they were to start increasing it, I feel like they would very quickly run into like some kind of Supreme Court case being like, hey, like, because if they truly do have market like dominance, the recent Supreme Court cases and stuff would very much say like, hey, you're monopolistic at this point. You need to lighten up. So I'm not very worried about it. The more worrisome thing for me that I've seen in developers recently is right now they're kind of the funding center of all things VR. Like if you want to get a game funded, you go through Meta Publishing, and those have more extensive fees because they're trying to recoup their investment, right?
Yeah.
But that's kind of the scary. Yeah, but that's a little bit scarier because it's like if there's only one place where you can go to get funding, that means there's only going to be one type of game that gets funded, and that's a little more scary. Right.
Yeah.
So that's a little more scary for the sake of like, hey, let's get more things in here. Let's vary up what we have. You know.
We just need more publishers, right?
It's
more
hard.
People helping with that.
Publishing is such a. I could do a whole podcast on the publishing state of VR. I have had both good and bad experiences in it. So we'll have to say that for another day. But we should probably talk about Unity as well and all the things that went down with that. But
well, I mean, I just think about like I have a favorite publisher that makes just regular video games that I love following. And if like they have anything that's published by them, I usually look at it because I know. To me, a publisher is like the person that's giving a stamp of approval to something. So, like, if you publish everything, like, you don't have good credibility as a publisher. But if you're, like, selective in the IP that you publish, it's kind of like, hey, like, we liked this game, so we think that you're going to like this game, too.
Yeah.
To me, that's, like, the benefit of a publisher. Devolver Digital, that's the name of my favorite publisher. Yeah, so anything that's Devolver Digital, I will always look at a Devolver Digital game.
And I think that works better in the more mature market that is like flat screen gaming because like you said, there's so much out there, it's hard to sift through the noise, and so publishers make sense. Right now, the way that I see it in the VR space is there's just not enough content yet for there to be publishers that make sense. Like my experience so far with publishers in the VR space has been they have been a means to get you onto the official store. Well, there's no longer an official store, so it's like, what do you guys truly offer? And so all the people that I have worked with in the past, like the other thing they typically offer to developers is marketing. Like I'm good at marketing. That's like one of the things I've been blessed with being very good at. And so they offer that to me. It's like, hey, we'll do your marketing for you and take 45% of your profit post Oculus cut. It's like, no deal, you know? Like there's no point in me doing that because like I can do that myself.
I was going to say, you've been so successful with all your marketing stuff. I feel like you and your brand could be kind of like a Devolver Digital where like anything that you take on is something that you kind of approve of, and like you would be a good publisher, like you and your brand that you've built. So I don't know if you've thought about that.
I actually have. I have considered that a lot. I know some people here have probably noticed that my voice has started popping up on a couple of new VR accounts. Because I have dived back into like VR content creation for others. I wouldn't necessarily want to be a publisher per se, but more of a, I feel like PR firm would be a better like rep for it. Because like right now I'm working with Cactus Jam, which is a game that I truly find to be quite entertaining and has like great potential. And I've started running their social media, and I would almost rather that were how like my media company was perceived, but I don't know. Definitely something I'll have to think through. Turning that, because the other problem with that is like I'm only one guy. You know, there's only so many accounts I can support. You know, like today I made the official Practically Reality YouTube channel. It is up. It is live. Go and check it out, guys. We'll start posting stuff there. But like I was thinking through, like, man, if I wanted to post like even a couple clips to that a week, that's gonna be a stretch. You know, like I'm already running. I think I'm running 5 accounts right now currently.
For sure.
It's just wild, but
that gives me some ideas.
Declan will be posting to the Practically Reality. Go subscribe to us, guys. It's gonna be great. Anyway, enough of that. So let's talk about Unity. Did you watch any of their
Unity
demo stuff?
I have watched some of it. It seems like there was a big emphasis on graphics for a while, which I mean there always is, which kind of goes into the debate of, you know, does anybody really care?
Yeah.
First off. But some of the other stuff I thought was cool was they focused a lot on multiplayer tools.
Yes.
So
which is huge.
That, yeah, for real. Like, I know I'm not a netcode person. I don't write multiplayer. I know that is one of the most complicated things to do in video games.
It is insane.
So to have more help with it, I imagine is like really nice.
Yes. Yeah. There's a really great breakdown of the Unity, what do they call it? Unite 2024?
Yeah.
I think that's what they call it. Basically, there's a guy, his name's Fistful of Shrimp. He's on YouTube, and he's like a VR tutorial guy, makes excellent tutorials. If any of you guys want to learn how to build VR games, he's an excellent source to look at. And he did a great breakdown from the perspective of a VR developer, so I really vibed with everything he said. And one of the things he was talking about that is awesome about the way that they're changing things, because from what I saw, there's basically 2 major changes, right? One, they're switching into not an every year release of their engine. They're switching from right now we're in 2024 engine, I believe. It's called Unity 2024. They're now switching into what's called Unity 6, and that's going to be the engine for a long time, which is nice for the sake of like long-term support and also like things not getting depreciated. But they are also, with that, making the tools such that they will last longer. So like you said, the multiplayer tools are going to be much more robust, much more fitting to like multiple versions of the engine, and also just simpler. Like you said, multiplayer is so hard as is. If Unity can figure out a simple way to create multiplayer applications, that is going to set them so far ahead of the crowd.
For
in
sure.
so many ways. And then,
well, I don't know if you saw the web stuff too. That's pretty interesting.
Yes, yeah. The web stuff is really. I'm just glad that they're approaching all the fronts. Whereas I feel like Unreal Engine, which is their biggest competitor, is like graphics. These are the craziest graphics, you know. Whereas Unity is like, we're making great tools. We're making, you know, more useful things for developers. Did you see that they're combining the render pipelines?
Yeah.
So what is now the basic render pipeline, HD and URP, they're going to be depreciating built in, and it's just going to become the unified render pipeline, which is huge. That's cool. Like that's going to be really awesome, because then it's just one spot. Again, I feel like they're simplifying, which is awesome for them. Like that's huge.
Yeah. I think, to me, like the web thing is super promising because I mean. I've been working so much on web over the last little bit. Sorry, my mic is right in my face. This thing is like not staying where I want it to be right now. So there's web game engines have always been complicated. I'm working a lot on web game engines right now, integrating in augmented reality into web game engines and vice versa. But to have something like Unity start pushing more into that front would be very interesting. My whole journey into like web AR development, I was a Unity developer first, and then through sample projects and other projects that other people have made, I learned how to be a web developer. So I learned all my web dev skills from AR projects, essentially. So I'm still more of probably like an AR developer than I am necessarily a web developer. I don't know if I could really make like a website. Um, I'm trying to do that right now, actually, and it is pretty difficult.
SAS chat.
But
ChatGPT.
yes, exactly. But like to have the opportunity to not have to go through and learn JavaScript and 3JS and all these other frameworks and still be able to deploy a really cool product using Unity on the web is super interesting. So, I don't know. Like I recently not published, but finished a project for Niantic Studio, which is an online AR and game engine. And it was an infinite runner, and it took me a while to figure out stuff because their tooling is still like in development.
Very much beta.
And to have, yeah, very much beta, but to have like the support of the Unity tools already would be super interesting. It just really will be, I guess, an interesting part to see is if they do add in AR functionality into their web tools and stuff.
I would be surprised if they didn't. Just because, like, Unity has been the choice tool of XR developers for probably since the beginning, right? Like, they have been the most supportive of, like, the different platforms for VR. XR. Yeah, so, I feel like we're getting this, like, resurgence of, like, web games, and a big part of that, I think, is exactly like what you're doing. There's these cool new web experiences in augmented reality. So I would be genuinely surprised if Unity didn't put time and development and efforts into, like, you know, augmented reality capabilities, because they have them. You know.
Yeah.
So
I feel like there's definitely web VR right now. I've been more impressed with a lot of the stuff that people have been doing in web VR. If you have never looked at Wonderland Engine before, it's pretty crazy what people are building on Wonderland Engine. I see full VR games that are built to be run in a web browser.
wow.
And they're like impressive. They're impressive games. So it'll be cool to see like what Unity is able to do with that. Because to me, that's like the next evolution, right? We have websites. People talk about metaverse. To me, all of that just means a 3D extension of the web. So being able to jump into a VR world by going to somebody's domain. Imagine instead of you jumping into my personal website and seeing like a 2D interface of it, you can see a 3D story of like my career. If it's my portfolio, you can see like different projects I've worked on and play with different things while you're in my portfolio. Or to me, that's like where the world is moving. You'll have your own personal space, and that will be your domain, and that will be the metaverse, you know? So having more accessibility to cool 3D tools that allow you to create that stuff is really promising. And it really, like, makes me excited for the future of all this stuff.
Yeah, no, I always think about Ready Player One, how they hang out in Wade's basement, you know? And it's like, that's like his personal invite place for people, and it's just like, this is me in a 3D space, right? And that's what we try to do with like websites and stuff. If you have a personal portfolio, you're trying to show people through the internet, hey, this is me, this is my branding, this is how it is. So I feel like, especially with technology like Orion coming up, where 3D space is going to be much more accessible, that's going to be much more common. And these engines and stuff are going to be the backbone of what accelerates that development process. Because that's what an engine is for. An engine is like built such that you don't have to do the heavy lifting on the code side. You can use the existing tools to create things faster, right? So, yeah, as it all like progresses forward, it'll be interesting to see like what catches and what doesn't, right? Because like we've had in VR, at least we've had 3D space representations for a long time. VR chat being like among one of the best ones. Rec Room, players where players can create user generated content, and it's fantastic. I did a whole podcast episode like a year ago with people from Brazil, and they had this basement where they in VR chat where they would hold their podcast. And so in VR chat we would do this podcast with them, and they were from Brazil, and it was like one of the most interesting experiences I ever had. But I asked them like, what was the process of making this? And they were like, oh man, you would not believe how hard this was.
How crazy it was.
Yeah, like the 3D modeling and all of these different things just made it like so impossible. But if you were to get an engine to streamline that process and make it much easier, Like, more people are going to be able to do it. And the more people that get
Well,
into it, the more stuff that's pushed out. Easier.
I think it'd be fun to do a podcast like that in VR sometime. Maybe we'll have to try it out. I'm doing a class this week in banter. I don't know if you know what that is, but it's a...
That's a side quest.
Yeah, I'm going to be jumping into banter and doing a little talk there for about an hour, just hanging out and talking to people about WebXR, so...
Very interesting.
It should be fun.
Banter,
I'll let you know how it goes.
Banter is created by the same founders as SideQuest, so that's going to be Shane and Orla Harris. I actually got to meet them last year at MetaConnect. Fantastic people. Okay. Great. They've got the best accent. Just two Irish people. They're so great.
Yeah, we need to hear your story on why you didn't get invited.
Oh, gosh.
Because you said that last week, and you said there was some drama behind it, so we need to get that story.
I don't necessarily think there's drama going on. Frankly, okay. I don't know what's going on. It was I've talked to a few people about this because I went last year to MetaConnect, but I did really have to. Well, no, I didn't. I got invited. I got invited, a personal invite from a person to come to MetaConnect. So I went last year and I got to see the Quest 3 reveal. I got to do a bunch of really cool classes and whatnot. And so I just kind of assumed that, like, hey, I was there last year. Wouldn't be surprised if I, was invited again, seeing as I have two games on their store now. Nothing. No reach out from any of their people. And talking to some other developers and whatnot, it sounded like you very much had to push to get invited there. Even some of their biggest studios that have like 10 or 12 games on their store only got like 2 or 3 invites. So I was not the only one who was like short on invites to this Connect. And I'm not sure why. I truly could not tell you why that was. But yeah, I didn't get invited. I'm not like super mad about it. It would have been cool to go see that. I would have been able to try out the Quest 3 and I could have given like a more hands-on review of it.
Yeah.
And I probably wouldn't have gotten a chance to try Orion, but I maybe would have been able to see it. For sure would have been able to try out yeah, exactly. For sure could have tried out the glasses, the Ray-Ban stuff, but no.
Yeah. Think about getting a pair of those.
I don't know. I might as well. I might also. That's what I'm trying to say.
I got accepted into the Snap Spectacles, so I need to order my pair of spectacles.
Ooh, I have seen some cool stuff with that. I'm excited to hear after you develop that a little bit to see what that's like.
Yeah, it'll be a good time.
I saw lots of cool fitness applications using the spectacles, which is very interesting to me. Could do a whole nother thing on that. Well,
yeah.
Declan, your hour is up, my friend.
It is. I have to get going. Yeah. Thanks for doing this.
Been a lot of fun, guys.
You gonna stay on?
I'll stay on for a minute and maybe I'll talk to chat for a little bit.
Okay.
So everybody say bye, Declan.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
We'll see you later, man. Thanks for chatting.
Bye. See ya.
All right, guys. That kind of concludes the discussion portion of the Practically Reality podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I'm happy to take a couple of questions here. Let's try to... let's do... Shadow Monkey's wondering what part of Texas you're from. I was born in San Antonio, but I did not stay there for very long. Yep, I am from Texas. We're asking if I'm from Texas. But I am no longer a resident of Texas, unfortunately. Someone was asking me earlier, what's my opinion on the Quest 3S? I kind of said this a little bit during the episode, but talk a little bit here. The Quest 3S, if you have a Quest 2, for Christmas this year, you should definitely be asking for a 3S, because that is going to be replacing your headset. Would not be surprised if within a year they totally discontinue the Quest. I'm pretty sure the Quest 2 is already being discontinued, and that's going to be just a fantastic thing for everyone. So, get it, got it, good. Ooh, child, things are going to get easier. Any other questions for me today, guys? If not, we'll call that a wrap. We're good. Give everyone a couple more seconds. Here answering questions. Hey, I see mostly on VR. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. What is all getting added to the PvE update? We're talking about Sail VR, are we? PvE. So our very talented and skilled developer Ben is going to be taking a pass at PvE. With that will come lots of new things. Well, I shouldn't say new. Lots of things that I feel like you guys have been requesting. New enemy types, gonna be one of them. And also a couple of like things like skill shots, potentially blocking on the end of on the side of the NPCs. They'll be able to block. Do I have any updates on Breadbox? Breadbox! Nah, he good, man. He's doing good. Lots of fun stuff going on right now. Anyway, yo, who's my viewer on Twitch right now? You're my guy. Thanks for hanging out. If you guys want to be more likely to have your comments seen in one of these live streams, you go check me out on Twitch. That's definitely going to be more likely. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Practically Reality Podcast YouTube channel. We have an official channel now. You guys should definitely go check that out. But if that is everything, guys, I think we are going to call it a day. Alrighty, boys. Hope you guys had a fun time talking with me. Thank you guys so much for taking time to hang out with us. We are going to call it a quits for today. Thanks so much for coming. You can catch us every Tuesday at 1 p.m. Pacific time when we do all this live on YouTube. And then we post everything to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Music on Wednesday, the day after. So if you don't catch us live, you can catch us on Amazon, Spotify, and whatnot. Thank you guys so much for coming, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.